One of the most hyped DePin protocols around at the moment. Today we're doing another deep dive. This time we're covering Grass. Let's get straight to it. Now, Grass is something that loads of you who have been watching me have been talking about. It's already got 600,000 plus users. So without further ado, we're just going to jump straight into it. We've got a lot to cover today, including a bit of background around the data wars and kind of why Grass is even a thing, what Grass actually is, how to use it, some of the future elements and features that are going to come. And as always, we're going to end it with the bull and bear case, as we always like to do on this channel. So yeah, it's going to be a long one. Grab yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Now, first things first, we need to cover the data wars. There's a lot of things here that we need to go through first. So first of all, web scraping is a big problem today. Now, what actually is web scraping? It's actually taking data or information from different websites, taking it all, formatting it, and using that for your own benefit. It can be various different things. If you're a business, you can use this information to help grow your sales, your marketing. You can use it in AI for training AI models, machine learning. There's so many things that you can use web scraping for. It's actually a really good thing, but there's a big problem with it today. And those are some of the things that I've listed here. So first of all, is like, where are you getting the data from? Is it ethical or not? You know, avoiding frauds, avoiding bots. Of course, taking this data with web scraping and selling it for large profits, that is a big problem that we have today for sure, no question about it. And then lastly, like a lot of companies today are worried that they themselves are going to be scraped and therefore they'll lose out to their competitors by kind of giving out this information for free. Yeah, data is very valuable, isn't it? And you know, a lot of these free applications that we see today, things like free VPNs, you know, users are using them without actually understanding the risks when using some of these apps, because at times they're being web scraped. Companies at times are unethically data scraping, web scraping, and hijacking these users' bandwidth and using that to sell this data for large amounts of profits. We see this time and time again, and it's a big problem. Now, with the advancement of artificial intelligence, you know, another problem arrives, and that is validating the origin of this data too. That is a separate thing altogether. And what you'll find actually is that web servers send different data to centralized servers than compared to human nodes. So even if you use something like ChatGPT to compare the prices of an item across different sites, when you actually go and click on the links, the prices of these items are incorrect. And I'll give you another example. Like, let's say if I'm going to buy a plane ticket from London to Paris, you know, sometimes some of these websites use comparison sites. They'll use aggregators, you could say. Now, what happens is when sending this information from their server to centralized servers like these aggregators, they'll send, you know, the prices being significantly lower than what they actually are. And that means that when you go to this aggregator, that website will be right at the top. It'll be the cheapest flight. However, something that you may have noticed before is that when you actually go and click on the link, the price is completely different. That is a big problem that we have today. And yeah, ultimately it goes back to this point that data is just extremely valuable. And it's so valuable to the extent that we've seen a number of companies recently block access to their APIs, especially, you know, in this AI era that we have today. You know, Elon Musk recently tweeted this. I'm sure many of you know about this, you know, about 7 months ago, that, you know, there's a limit to how much you can scroll on Twitter. And that is because, you know, they obviously Twitter probably wanted to develop their own AI models rather than kind of giving away that data for free. Now, we've seen this with Reddit, Twitter, as I just mentioned, LinkedIn, even Medium. Like, it's really hard to browse these articles without actually making an account now. And these sources are really good, especially things like Reddit, which did originally power a lot of ChatGPT, because when training an AI language model, you really want these Q&A type answers, and that's what a lot of these applications have. So yeah, it's really difficult to get good data nowadays. And that is a big problem with web scraping. So what is Grass? Grass is a network that you use to sell unused bandwidth, but it's actually a network to collect data across the entire internet. You can think of it somewhat like an oracle for data. And it's going to hopefully be on Solana, not officially confirmed just yet, but there's 600,000 users already. And when you go to the Grass web app, you can see that you can get paid for your unused internet. So what actually happens? How does this work? Essentially, you basically get the application, and you as a user are then running a node. And web requests are sent via this browser, to your node essentially, and then your browser, your node gives the sequencer this proof of request, which then gives you back a reward. No personal data is kind of stored or collected. I guess you could somewhat think of it like, imagine you've got your home and your driveway, but you're not actually using your driveway. You don't have a car, you cycle to work instead. Well, what you could do is you could basically rent out your driveway space, get some extra income. You weren't using it anyway, but at the same time, you're not giving them access to your home. Your front door is completely locked. You're just giving them access to the driveway. You could think of it somewhat similar to that. And the Grass network is like used to basically scrape, all kinds of information from the internet. You can see that the founder, Dre, actually mentioned that Grass is currently scraping 13,000 long form articles per minute. And this is kind of not even being in the alpha stage right now. So what happens to this data that they collect from all over the internet? The plan is to basically make this data open source in future. For now, it's not. And essentially, they use this data to train LLMs, but also to provide specific insights to companies that don't just want this raw data, but they want the analysis that comes with this as well. So that's pretty much what happens. And Grass is really targeting the AI space for this. And you can see this from these two infographics that I've kind of put on here. This one is from Missouri, and basically explaining the kind of machine learning pipeline where you've got Grass right at the bottom at this data collection stage, really like important in kind of feeding it through to these AI models so that they can use this data and obviously get better. And again, you can see this again here, like with your Grass nodes, kind of taking information from all over the internet and feeding it through to these training models, things like BitTensor and Jensen, which hopefully I will do deep dives on, but these are obviously some very interesting protocols too. And then that benefiting the overall AI ecosystem. So, getting this data, analyzing it and preparing it so that you can feed it to these AI models is a really important thing. And that's what Grass is really trying to do. And you can see that they've already partnered up with some AI protocols or AI companies, Alignment Labs, which was recently announced earlier this month. And the idea is, look, Grass will use to create data assets from the public web, for which the users will be rewarded for, and kind of pass it on to these companies who can use them for their benefits. So how do you set it up? Well, it's just a simple Chrome extension, like a plug and play. You can use it on Brave or Google Chrome or whatever browser you use. Just get this extension. It's just called Grass, and you just kind of let it be. It just runs in the background. You just kind of open the app and that's it. You don't even have to keep the app open at all times. You just keep the extension there, and as long as you've got the extension, you've got it running. Now, currently, when you're using it, you will get Grass points in real time. And this hopefully will eventually become a governance token. Obviously, there's no confirmation of this just yet. It's just my speculation. And yeah, there's a referral system in place where you can refer other people to the network. They can obviously join and sign up and obviously get these Grass points as well in future. Hopefully that becomes a token. And that's probably one of the reasons why we've got 600,000 users already. Really, really impressive. They've got this tier system where essentially the more referrals you have, the kind of more points you get. So for making this video, my ask to you guys is to please use my referral link. I'll put it in the description below, or if you're watching this on Twitter, I'll put it in the comment section below, or in the replies below, I should say. Please use it. It benefits me, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. So this is what the interface looks like. When you can actually go to the dashboard yourself and sign in, and you can basically see your earnings, including your lifetime earnings, as well as your earnings from today. You can see if you're connected or not. You can see your earnings like over a period of time. So you can see like if you're hitting certain marks, if you'd like. You can see which networks you've got underneath as well, and you can see your network score. Now, I believe if you're in the United States, you might be able to get a 99% network score, but I am not in the States and I don't think I can get a 99% network score. So my points are a little bit lower, which is why I want you to use my referral. You'll help boost me up a little bit. But that's pretty much it. It's quite an easy to use interface, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's had so much success. It's just so simple, and that's really what we want if we want to see widespread crypto adoption. So in future, the idea is they will have a mobile app. I think at the moment they are prioritizing Saga, Solana mobile phone users, probably Android and then iOS later. Potentially in future you could also run this node on a Raspberry Pi or something like that. I think they are planning to do a retroactive airdrop in 2024. Contributors can help with formatting the data in future as well, which I think is going to be the next step that comes with Grass. I think also in future, currently right now, you get paid for your uptime. But I think in future that will change. And rather than being paid for your uptime, you will probably get paid for your actual bandwidth that you provide. So that might change in future. And I think they're going to use this zero knowledge tech to basically use this proof of request when it comes to authorizing or the authenticity of the data, I should say. Potentially, there could be some Grass hardware, for people who don't want to use their computer. Potentially you could just kind of have this thing, plug and play. You go to work, this earns in the background for you. And maybe you could use Grass as a way to pay for things like your Netflix subscription or your Amazon subscription or things like that. I don't know exactly how much you're going to make from this, but the estimates are $20 to $30 a month, which could pay for some of your subscriptions, and I think that would be a lovely way for users to kind of monetize their unused bandwidth, I should say. So 1 token, hopefully this year, and hopefully that gives us some juicy rewards as well. So in terms of VC and background, I know that Grass have actually raised, their last raise was $3.5 million. They're led by Polychain Capital, which is really good to see. And you'll find that some of these other investors are pretty big as well, like Sami Kassab. I mean, if you're not following him and you're interested in the DePin space or the AI space when it comes to crypto, you really should do. He works at Mozari, really, really interesting thoughts that he has. So I recommend giving him a follow as well. So in total, they've raised 4.5 million. So 3.5 million here, and then I believe 1 million earlier, led by the previous round was led by No Limit Holdings. But yeah, some really good VCs here, especially with Polychain and Tribe. What's actually interesting is that the Grass actually the kind of company behind Grass is called the Wind Network, and they were actually incubated by New Order DAO. And the reason why this is interesting is because New Order have actually incubated some really top quality protocols. That's what I really like to see. Things like Redacted, Y2K Finance, and of course Grass as well. And I think that is a positive sign for me. Now, in terms of the team, you've got Andre, who's basically the main co-founder. There may be another co-founder, but I'm not entirely sure who that was or who that is. I've put the Twitter ats for a few of the other devs and some of the other people, Conte as well, who does BD at Grass. Great thing that I've noticed is that there are a ton of jobs available, and I think that's always a great thing when you see a team expanding. That means they're obviously clearly doing something well, and some pretty good salaries there as well. Now, I do recommend everyone to go and watch this interview. This is with Andre himself. And yeah, it's pretty enlightening, and you will learn a lot about the kind of idea behind Grass, why it's such a big deal, and some of the things that they're trying to do. So yeah, I highly recommend watching this one. It is a good one for sure. Now, as always, we like to finish things off with the bull case and the bear case. So let's start off with the bull case. I think when it comes to Grass, it's very easy to set up. There's no upfront costs compared to running an Ethereum validator or Solana validator. This is a complete different ball game. This is so easy. It has a real Web 2 like feel to it, and I think that is probably one of the reasons why they've had so much mass adoption with over 600,000 users. This is an app that I think could get millions of users over time, especially because it can fill that kind of passive income narrative, which a lot of retail users love. If you look at the alternative data industry as well, this is a $20 billion industry, and web scraping is a few $1 billion, but it is growing. So there is real scope here for this to be of value. Now, of course, this isn't confirmed, but I believe that they will be launching on Solana. That is pretty much the home of DePin at the moment. We're seeing so much of the decentralized physical infrastructure crypto scene being built on Solana, and I think that is probably one of the wise decisions to make, especially with the cheaper fees that come with it. Now, and the other benefit is that, look, there isn't really too many people competing in this space, and the AI space, or the decentralized AI space, is growing massively. When you've got Grass, who are potentially feeding all of this information or data directly into the likes of BitTensor, that is a pretty big deal. Now, in terms of bear case, like, how do you value something like this? Like, as I mentioned, there isn't really that much in competition. Yes, you could kind of compare it to some of the other DePin protocols around, but is this worth 100 million? Is this worth 500 million? $1 billion? It's kind of difficult for me to know, and especially without knowing like how much revenue they're kind of able to get from selling this data. That is something that hopefully we will find out in future, but it does make it a little bit difficult to value. That does, however, mean that speculating can be a little bit easier, because things can go up or down. I guess you never really know. No public code for now. No public code for now, but I'm guessing sequences and things will be decentralized in future. I had a few questions kind of about the Grass token, like what will it actually be used for? Yes, you can incentivize people for running this node with Grass, but is it just going to be a gov token? Is it going to be a farm and dump token? Is there going to be some complex game theory behind it? Is there going to be some revenue share? I mean, we really don't know just yet, so it's a little bit early, and I think that will play a kind of a huge role in determining the value capture when it comes to investing as well. But we'll have to wait and see for that. It's a little bit early. In terms of like using these nodes, I've written a few bullet points as well. I guess you are kind of responsible for whatever data gets scraped, whether it's good or bad. So use that knowledge as you wish. And I think also some users have reported having kind of more captures to do, lower speeds when they're using the internet. Personally, I've been running this for around 8 months now. I haven't noticed any differences at all, but I have noted that, so I just wanted to share that with you. And I guess lastly, there is a kind of this risk of malicious material being connected or run via your network in this way. So that's pretty much it. I mean, overall, I'm super impressed with Grass. I really like this concept, and I'm excited to see kind of how AI can advance with Grass. How this data can be not only just scraped but then analyzed and processed with AI models to improve them. That is something that I think is a real game changer here, and I really like just how easy it is for anyone to just spin up a node and start kind of contributing to this. I think that makes it really, really cool. Funny meme, but yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover today. Big fan of Grass. I've been using it for the last 8 months. If you guys are down to use it, you can use it. Please be aware of some of the risks that of course I have mentioned as well. I'll leave my referral link in the description below. I want you guys to use it. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are about it. What do you think about Grass? Do you have any questions about it as well? Let me know in the comment section below or in the replies. I'll happily answer whatever I can. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back with plenty more content in the near future.